Jacksonville game, the Tennessee game, everything.
The Jimmy
And now you think
coaster.
about where the Niners are at. Business is booming.
I know.
Guys want sideline passes. Celebrities are coming up to Levi's Stadium. Steve Young is tweeting nonstop about the Niners. I mean, you can't get enough of 49er football. And today, the draft, that is basically centered around Brandon Ayuk. What the hell? What the hell did they do with Brandon Ayuk? But at the end of the day, do you trust them to make the right decision? Shanahan and Lynch. And I think they have earned our trust. They have. Whether we like it or not, we trust Lynch and Shanahan to make the right move. We'll be behind them. But before the break, we were playing this wild hypothetical game.
Just having fun.
Having fun. What would Brock Purdy's value be if the Niners offered him up in the trade or whatnot?
Yeah.
I don't know what his value will be, but
I really don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't know what his value would be. But you were like, hey, Joe, would you take Caleb Williams?
Yeah.
If you had the number 1 pick, or would you trade down? I'd probably trade down just because I believe in Brock Purdy. Like, even though I love Caleb Williams, I mean, the reality is you're hoping he's as good as Brock Purdy, if not better, right?
Yep.
You're hoping. You still got to go out and do it. And look, this might not age well.
Proven talent over prospects all day.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're
And this might not age well. I mean, like, he could have a C.J. Stroud-like year, which a lot of people didn't see coming. And this is going to sound really dumb. And then Purdy has a bad year. But, like, I'm going off what I know now. I'd probably end up trading down. And as I think about it here, and I'm thinking about all the prospects, whether number 1 through whatever you want, coming into the league. I'm talking about coming into the league. There's really only one guy coming into the league that I would take without a doubt, because I was so convinced he was going to win a Super Bowl and be a 15-year quarterback. And even then I was wrong. Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
I was the biggest Andrew Luck fan. I went and saw him as a freshman, a sophomore, and a junior down at Stanford. And I thought that he was Peyton Manning with more movement, an even better arm.
Peyton Manning times Tom Brady.
I'm talking about cerebrally, like pre-snap and what he could do. I just thought he threw guys open. I mean, he was throwing to like Griff Whalen, for Christ's sake. I mean, he looked phenomenal. Think about how high people held Trevor Lawrence in regard. And I was like, I thought he was a great prospect, as a prospect heading in. And even then I was a little skeptical. How's Trevor Lawrence look? Like, no, there's reasons why. He's in a bad situation. At times. No, I'm saying he inherited a bad situation.
Yeah.
You know, like, he hasn't come close to looking like Brock Purdy. You know? Now, Brock has a better situation.
Yeah, he's had flashes, though. He's had flashes.
Brock's been pretty damn good.
Brock has been good. I don't want to diminish Trevor Lawrence, but he has, so far, still, is he going to get that next contract?
I'll give you the moments. I'll give you the moments.
He's had moments. He won a division title. I mean, the Urban Meyer year can set a young quarterback back tremendously.
And no doubt.
Doug Peterson to the rescue.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I mean, and he went to a literal expansion franchise at the time. I mean, they had Josh Allen, that was it, the defensive end guy. So I'm looking at this and I'm saying to myself, like, 9 times out of 10, I'm keeping Brock Purdy and taking him because he's only 23, 24 years old. And even though I know I have to pay him, I would trade down for a litany of picks and I would make all the picks around him.
Was Joe Burrow a big-time pick? Because it felt like when Joe Burrow came into the draft, he was can't miss, number 1, coming out of LSU.
Skeptical.
Were you skeptical?
Well, because he had the monster year in LSU, and I was like, oh, they got great receivers. I mean, looking back, you had Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. I didn't know those guys would do what they were going to do in the league, but I was like, that's one of the greatest offenses I've ever seen in college. Was it Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the other guy?
Yep, the running back.
I mean, that team on paper was crazy, and it was like one amazing year. And I remember Joel Klatt compared him to Joe Montana. Yeah. And I was like, that's a little strong.
Yeah, that's a little strong. But you know what?
Looking at it now,
how they love him at LSU, he does remind you of Joe Montana. We watched him at Levi's Stadium.
I was just going to say that. That might have been the greatest quarterback performance I've ever seen.
I mean, at Levi's Stadium, I just couldn't believe when it was 3rd and 10.
When he
empty gun and he checked to a quarterback draw, got a first out and said, oh, this guy is just too much.
He threw a layered ball to the out to Jamar Chase. Yeah. That was one of the perfect balls I've ever seen.
First 2 plays of the 3rd quarter of that game against the Cincinnati Bengals. He runs a back fade stop. Traverse Ward should have been called for a penalty. He calls the same route the next play. They get the penalty, and then they're just rolling. Joe Burrow is just something. I mean, to go to Arrowhead Stadium and win, to get knocked out the Super Bowl, the way he got hit in that Super Bowl, and still trying to bounce back and lead the Bengals to it. Joe Burrow's that guy. And the hype, maybe the hype was dissipated because you had Tua Tagovailoa there. You had Justin Herbert there. Yeah, think about that.
True.
Think about that draft. Because I remember Tua. I couldn't get enough of Tua in Alabama.
The Dolphins took Tua ahead of Justin Herbert.
But you know what, though?
A lot of people. I love Tua too.
But you know what? Tua's had more success than Justin. Has he not?
How many GMs are taking Tua ahead of Herbert right now?
That's not the question. Sure, everybody's going to take Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
But Tua's had more success.
Well,
they both have one playoff start, correct? And both of them took L's.
Yeah, because he didn't start the game. He got hurt.
Right, Skyler, Thompson.
But he was the reason why they were in position to get to the playoffs, right? He gets credit for that.
For sure.
And Tyreek has had a generational, Tyreek has had an unbelievable season.
They had monster years.
So it's been a trigger man. He's been really good. And I just think he's had more success than him. But it is a risk when you take Caleb Williams. And Caleb Williams, has a quarterback got into a situation that's as plush as the situation he's going to in Chicago?
Trey Lance.
Even with these weapons, yeah. Trey Lance didn't have the running back.
Okay.
Right?
Elijah, we didn't know was going to be that because that was his rookie year. But
in terms of team, Trey Lance. But in terms of just a unit as an offense.
Okay.
As an offense.
All right.
You go into wide receiver.
Pretty good.
It's pretty good because Ayuk, we didn't know Ayuk was this good.
Reggie Wayne's pretty sweet for Andrew Luck.
For Andrew Luck. It's sweet.
He's a Hall of Famer.
It's one wide receiver, though.
It's true.
He had T.Y. as a rookie, right?
Yeah, but no one knew T.Y.
Nobody knew
T.Y. a 6th-round pick.
We know Caleb Williams is walking in with DJ Moore.
T.Y. Hilton was
but we know Caleb Williams is walking in with Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Cole Kmet, DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's pretty damn good.
It's really good.
And the defense, but we're just talking offense. Yeah. Just offensive units.
The Niners had, when Trey Lance got here, and when Brock ended up taking over as a rookie, Brock's, actually, now that I think about it, Brock's rookie year might be the best team to inherit. Now, that was by accident, not by design. He wasn't drafted to take over day one.
Yep.
So this is a very unique situation. But, when you inherit Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, and CMC, I don't think it gets much better than that.
Doesn't get better. Yeah, but, for Trey Lance, he didn't have CMC.
No, it's about Brock.
Brock did. Yeah.
His
Brock, coming in. Brock, no, I'm with you there.
That's about as good as he gets.
There. I was just going back to Trey.
Yeah, back to Trey.
But back to Trey, though, he didn't have George Kittle in 3 to 4 games he played.
That's true.
Ayuk missed that game against Arizona, right? So, but
it's time for you to do the legal.
It's a great situation for Caleb Williams. Let's go to Rolando real quick in Napa, then we'll get to the legal. Rolando, Napa, draft crush. Who you got, Rolando? Good morning, man.
Dude, good morning, guys. I'm a big fan. I was talking to your call screener, and we both agreed on the one guy, Brock Bowers. Now, here's my question to you guys. Is he really that good of a tight end? Because I was talking to your screener, and I mentioned Kyle Pitts, because everybody said when Kyle Pitts came out, he was a no blue-chip prospect. And I want to ask you guys this question. Is Brock Bowers really that good of a tight end? And here's my follow-up question. If he falls, should the Niners draft him? And also, here's a follow-up question to that. Depending on what happens to Brandon Ayuk, if they do trade him for one of those first-round picks, supposedly, should that pick be Brock Bowers? I want to hear your comments and what do you guys think of him? Is he really that good of a tight end?
Good call, Rolando. I love Brock Bowers. I love Brock Bowers. When he was a freshman, I said, damn, we got to wait 2 years for this guy to get drafted. He reminds me of a little Kittle, reminds me of a little Kelsey. His run after the catch is really, really good. When he gets the ball in his hands, he's as explosive as any college tight end I've ever seen. No cap. The guy can make plays with the ball in his hands. How good of a blocker is he? I don't know. And that's the difference between George Kittle and a lot of tight ends. If he could block, great, because I love a well-rounded tight end. But if he can line up in the slot, if he can line up outside to beat one-on-one coverage, I want to see that as well. But I don't know how he's going to do against press man yet, because you don't see a lot of teams press Georgia like that because they have the best athletes on the field. And teams are scared of getting burnt deep. But Brock Bowers made a lot of plays, man. This is a tough son of a gun. I take him in a heartbeat.
If you hit on a tight end, it's some of the best value in football.
Yep.
Laporta hit, and it's a monster acquisition for them. Even if they have to pay him 3 years down the line, it's like $15, $16, $17 million a year at most. Okay? At most. That's half of what one receiver costs now at the top of the charts. So tight end is tremendous value in today's league. But when you look at the hit rates on these first-round tight ends, it's not great. But I like Brock Bowers a lot. Here's the problem, is that you got George Kittle. And how many 2 tight end sets are you actually going to run? You just brought back, Kyle Juszczyk on a restructured deal. How many of those formations are you actually doing? Now, if you're moving off of George Kittle, absolutely. But I don't think they have the luxury. If you want to be a Super Bowl win now team, to invest that high of a selection in a guy who's only going to be on the field 20% of the time this year.
What if you're trading Brandon Ayuk and you shift your philosophy slightly when you're running multiple double tight end sets and you have Deebo and another wide receiver? Yeah, no doubt you still need an X. And maybe you get that X later in the draft, but you start with Brock and you start with Kittle and you're saying, hey, come guard these guys. Now, I don't think Shanahan's going to do that. I don't see Brock Bowers or the Niners being interested in him because of George Kittle.
I feel like he's not going to get past the Jets at 10.
Yeah. Oh, boy. If he goes to the Jets with Aaron Rodgers.
Well, they want to get him a weapon.
I've seen Roman Dunze rumored to go to the Jets as well.
The Jets will screw it up, right?
But what if Rome goes to Chicago again? What if Caleb walks into Chicago? He's got Rome, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore.
I think they're a candidate to trade down again.
You think they'll trade down after 9?
I do.
Ryan Poles?
You're looking at Minnesota. You're looking at teams like that have multiple first-rounders or another first-rounder and a high second-rounder. Yeah, I do. I think there's going to be a lot of moves today. I think today is going to be wild NFL trade stuff. Like the Raiders.
How many trades in the first round?
I can see the Raiders and the Bears making a trade where the Raiders move up to 9 to get the guy they want, the quarterback they want.
What if they just stay at 13? Can they get Penix Jr. at 13?
I don't know. I got Penix on my board.
The only team in front of them that might take him would be the Broncos, which is the pick right before them. But I don't know if Sean Payton likes Penix, though. He's been linked to Bo Nix a lot.
Bo Nix. I don't know why.
I keep seeing Bo Nix.
It's the taste and hill on him.
Pull up a website, whether it's Prize Picks, DraftKings, or Bovada. What are the over-unders on trades in the first round?
I'll let you know after you do that legal.
Because you are listening to 95.7 The Game.